Thank you. Very happy to be here tonight and very happy to be part of this exhibit. We just made a surgical robot that went to space. We're in the Museum of Surgical Science, and we have an exhibit on space medicine. So we're the center of the Venn diagram of the intersection of all those things. So figure this out. Sure looks like that arrow advances it, but it doesn't. It advances a lot. So we have a little startup company called Virtual Incision. It's in Lincoln, Nebraska, and we make this little robot for surgery. This device is actually inserted into the body during surgery. So during laparoscopic surgery, they actually inflate you. And I always say it's like they place a salad bowl on your belly. There's a little bit of space, lift the abdominal wall up, and that gives us room to insert this robot on the inside. The robot's made like you and I are. We've got the right hand and the left hand, and then there's a camera that looks left and right, up and down in here. So it's like we've shrunk the surgeon down and actually put them inside the patient. Lets them directly address the surgical target. The camera is removable, it can be used separately. And it's different than other surgical robots. Other surgical robots that are out there in use weigh 2,000 pounds, and they're literally 9 feet tall. They're very, very big machines. This is a totally different approach to robotic surgery. This has been a long research project with us. I guess I should point out, we also make the console. The robot doesn't do surgery by itself. It's actually controlled by the surgeon via the console. This introduces this idea of telesurgery. The surgeon's at the console controlling the robot, and the robot's with the patient. I mentioned that we have a startup company in Virtual Incision where we're building these devices, and I have to report on February 23rd, we received marketing authorization from the Food and Drug Administration, which is a big deal for us, so I have a slide about it. But I always point out that the application was about 35,000 pages to be approved, so it's a big deal. We had a 30-patient clinical trial that went really well. So again, just to show that our robot's a little bit different, it operates underwater. It's used just like this. Most robots are draped and covered to keep them sterile, but our robot is sterilized and used just like this. Lots of steps like this we do to kind of simplify the use of the device. The fish, by the way, are very easy to catch. And our little robot's really strong, so we made a little video to show how strong that is. That's, again, important to surgeons. But I want to tell you tonight about a little mission we just completed. And we made a device called Space Mirror to separate us from the clinical surgical side of the United States. Yes? Louder. Louder. Let's talk about this first of all. So we did a lot of testing. This is our experimental design. You can see this upstairs on the 4th floor, actually. This is called an Express Wrap Locker, which is a NASA box that's holdover from the shuttle program, but it's a microwave-sized box that you put standard experiments in, they go up, they get installed, they bring them back down. It's just a standard box for that. So we had to make our robot just a little bit shorter so that it would fit inside diagonal of the box. But then we had simulated surgical tissue, which are rubber bands between you and me, but we had a fancier name for them. And we wanted to show that we can do dissection on Earth. So you grab tissue, you provide some tension, and then you can dissect the tissue with your scissors on Earth. So this is our experiment that we designed. Lots of testing, of course. I always like to show the students that are involved in all this research and supporting this. That's an on-orbit picture of our system installed in space. They provided us with a picture so we can check some things out. And if you have a video of your robot being launched to space, I would probably include it in every presentation I ever give the rest of my life. That's pretty cool. If we go past that, have you seen the launch? Thank you for playing that. So we launched January 30th on Falcon 9. I realized we have some overlap with you guys at the time on the station here. So we got to go down and see the launch, and the landing of that stage 1 booster is as cool as it looks on TV. It's pretty amazing to witness. We were aboard Northrop Grumman Cygnus cargo capsule. and we were installed on the International Space Station. So here you can see astronaut Laurel O'Hara is installing our device in the express rack. She's the robotics expert on the space station, so again, there seems to be a lot of Canadian excitement here. So she's the one driving around Canadian too, I guess. But we really didn't ask much of the astronauts. If you look, there's a yellow knob and a red knob. They attach power and they attach Ethernet to that, and they really turned our system on. And our experiment really had two phases. We had to do a little, open the locker and do a little checkout here inside there. She checked some connections for us. The first stage, we have a pre-programmed path. So let's just get some rubber bands cut while we're on the space station, and we have a pre-programmed path to kind of give a bird in the hand. I'll show you that experiment here next. That's happening here on the right. So as soon as she turned it on, the robot started to execute the task, and you can see that it'll grab the simulated tissue, it'll provide some tension, and then it'll dissect that tissue. So again, simulated surgical task. This was just stage one. This was our bird in the hand. The second stage was much more ambitious. We wanted to control the device from here on Earth and be able to perform surgical tasks while it's on orbit on the space station. So let's move on to that one here. So we created our own little mission control in Lincoln, Nebraska. We have a row of engineers in the front. We have a row of surgeons in the back. And way in the front left, you can see a surgeon sitting at a console. That image up there is from on orbit, and they're controlling the device from here on Earth. Some standard views of the space station and what's going on there. And then NASA provided the loss of signal information. We had to be cautious of that, of course. These are our 6, we call them astrosurgeons, that perform tasks from Lincoln. So I point out Dr. Bianco first because he's at the University of Illinois, Chicago here in town. Dr. Fong's from Los Angeles, 2 Nebraska surgeons, Houston and New Jersey. So we had folks from all over come and execute this. This is the first time a surgical device like this is ever operating in space, and they control it from space. So here's just a little video of our mission operations. Dr. Jokes is controlling that robot again that's on the space station, and you can see he's performing those dissection tasks using these hand controllers. You can, of course, see the camera being moved around, so you can look at different locations. And this was really a technology demonstration. We wanted to show what's possible. And of course, you guys know the space station can be 250 miles above you, or it can be 8,000 miles on the other side of the Earth. And we operated for about 2 hours. It takes 90 minutes or so for you to spin around through that full cycle. So the device was quite far away frequently. And there was a lag introduced from the communications protocols. And that served as a bit of a challenge, but we were very excited because all 6 surgeons were successful in performing these tasks that we had for them. So Dr. Fong was very excited. And our device, we have a historical photo of our device with astronaut O'Hara. And it's returned to Earth. Actually, astronaut O'Hara is returned to Earth, she has. And our device is returned to Earth, but we don't have an exact back yet. And sometimes I give presentations at lunch and I try to scrub it through the surgery videos, but this is a surgery hard group. I would just want to point out another experiment we just did. The point of the NASA mission was to demonstrate the technology, what's possible here on Earth. So May 1st, we had a surgery between the University of Illinois, Chicago, and Lincoln, Nebraska. We had 4 surgeons in Nebraska and we had 4 surgeons in Chicago. We did 8 procedures that day. The Chicago surgeons operated on a patient in Lincoln and vice versa. This is research stuff and it's not human patients, but really, really excited about this. If you think about surgery in rural environments, a general surgeon in a small town that has to do a colectomy, but you'd really like to have a colorectal surgeon help you with that. You could have a specialist dial in and assist you with surgery. We've always received funding from NASA and the Army because NASA and the Army both want to do surgery in crazy places, forward environments for the Army. So I always also think about, if you're in a car accident in a rural area and you rupture your spleen in a car accident, it's trouble. Things could go poorly here. So it'd be nice to provide surgical care as far forward as you can. And if you can enable telesurgery, we think that's a big, big win for the future. We think we've demonstrated it now on the International Space Station, and what makes it all possible really is the fact that this is a small robot that can be moved anywhere, and you can forward deploy it in a lot of environments. So really excited to be doing this work and excited to be part of this exhibit. So anybody that wants to talk robots, I'll talk to you later. Do you have a question?
I just have one quick question. What would the cost of that be to a rural area that would benefit?
So we think this can be cost parity with current technologies. So if you're having, we think it'll be more costly to move the patient or move the surgeon from place to place. We think we can do this for the same prices that current surgeons are doing. So if you can allow that patient to stay in their own environment, stay at home, stay with family, those are big wins in those areas and those situations. So it's small, it's simple, and we think will eventually be less expensive. Thank you very much.